Bianca Michelle Devins was born on October 2nd, 2001 in Utica, New York, a small city in the Mohawk Valley region of upstate New York. She grew up in a household that included her mother, Kim Devins, her stepfather Mike, and her younger siblings. Her ethnic background reflected a typical American upbringing in a working-class community where family bonds remained central to daily life. Bianca attended local schools throughout her childhood and adolescence, eventually graduating from Proctor High School in 2019. Following graduation, she was accepted into Mohawk Valley Community College, where she planned to pursue further education and explore career opportunities that aligned with her creative interests. From an early age, Bianca became deeply involved in social media platforms, particularly Instagram and Discord. She cultivated online communities centered around aesthetics, mental health journaling, gaming servers, and edgy meme subcultures that appealed to teenagers navigating identity and belonging. Her online presence grew steadily, attracting followers who resonated with her candid posts about personal struggles and artistic expression. Bianca openly discussed her mental health challenges, including anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder, which she managed with support from family and friends. These struggles were presented factually in her online spaces, not as performance, but as genuine reflections of her inner life. As her visibility increased, Bianca developed a growing cult-like online fanbase. Followers admired her aesthetic choices, her vulnerability, and her willingness to engage authentically with her audience. This digital attention brought both positive connections and unwanted complications, as strangers began to feel entitled to access her life. The expanding reach of her social media presence set the stage for interactions that would later prove dangerous. Bianca was a teenager, balancing personal challenges with the complexities of online visibility, navigating a digital landscape where boundaries often blurred between genuine connection and obsessive attention. Bianca eventually connected online with Brandon Andrew Clark, a 21-year-old man from Bridgewater, New York. Their interaction began through Instagram, Discord, and shared gaming communities where both participated in meme culture and online discussions. Brandon became a frequent presence in Bianca's digital circles, and over time, they developed a connection that involved messaging, voice chats, and occasional in-person meetings. Family members and friends who observed their interactions believed the relationship was not romantic in nature. However, Brandon's behavior consistently demonstrated possessiveness and emotional attachment that exceeded the boundaries of friendship. Messages retrieved from Discord, logs and testimony from mutual friends revealed that Brandon wanted a committed romantic relationship with Bianca, while she made it clear she did not share those feelings. Friends noticed red flag behaviors that escalated over the months they interacted. Brandon exhibited jealousy when Bianca spoke to other males, attempted to monitor her conversations, and used emotional manipulation to guilt her into spending more time with him. He would become withdrawn and brooding when he felt rejected or overshadowed by other men in her life, displaying mood swings that concerned those around him. As Brandon's obsession deepened, his actions grew more controlling. He would send long emotional messages expressing frustration when Bianca did not respond quickly, or when she posted content he perceived as attention-seeking. Friends reported that he often inserted himself into situations where Bianca was spending time with others, claiming he was looking out for her safety. This pattern of behavior reflected a toxic sense of entitlement that investigators would later identify as a core motive behind the crime. Brandon's inability to accept rejection and his belief that Bianca owed him romantic commitment created a dangerous dynamic that escalated toward violence. On the evening of July 13, 2019, Bianca left her home to attend a Nicole Dollanganger concert in New York City. She traveled with Brandon Clark and mutual friends who were also fans of the artist. The group made the drive from Utica to the concert venue, and the event initially proceeded without incident. However, friends later testified that Brandon began showing visible signs of jealousy during the concert, particularly when Bianca engaged in conversation with another male attendee. Witnesses observed that Brandon grew quiet, anxious, and visibly brooding as the night progressed. The interaction between Bianca and the other concert-goer was casual and brief, but Brandon interpreted it as a personal slight. His mood shifted noticeably, and friends noticed him withdrawing from group conversations and watching Bianca closely. After the concert concluded, the group prepared for the return trip to Utica. Brandon and Bianca traveled together in his vehicle, while other friends made separate arrangements to return home. The drive back to Utica carried an unmistakable tension. Friends who spoke with Bianca later that night or early the next morning reported that the atmosphere in the vehicle felt uncomfortable. Brandon's jealousy from the concert had not subsided, and the hours-long drive provided ample time for arguments and emotional confrontation. By the early morning hours of July 14, 2019, the situation had deteriorated significantly. Witness observations and supported accounts indicated that Brandon's possessive behavior had reached a dangerous threshold, setting the stage for the tragedy that would unfold within hours. On the morning of July 14, 2019, Bianca's family became increasingly concerned when she did not return home as expected. Text messages sent to her phone went unanswered, and attempts to reach her through social media platforms yielded no response. Her mother, Kim Devins, grew worried as hours passed without contact, a situation that was unusual given Bianca's consistent communication habits with her family. Between approximately 7 and 7:20 a.m., disturbing photographs began circulating within Discord servers and private Instagram messages. The images depicted Bianca deceased beneath a tarp, with severe throat wounds visible. Users within these online communities immediately recognized Bianca from her social media presence and understood the gravity of what they were witnessing. Several Discord users independently contacted Bianca's family members and the Utica Police Department to report the images and express urgent concern for her safety. By 7:30 a.m., what had begun as a missing person concern had shifted to an active homicide investigation. Law enforcement officials received multiple reports from online users who provided screenshots, metadata from the images, and information about Brandon Clark's possible involvement. The photographs contained digital metadata that offered directional clues about the location where they were taken. Additionally, vehicle information associated with Brandon Clark gave investigators critical leads to rapidly narrow the search area. The speed with which the case transitioned from missing person to homicide was unprecedented, driven entirely by the digital evidence that spread across online platforms. The family's worst fears were confirmed within hours as police moved to locate Bianca and apprehend Brandon Clark, the murder of Bianca. Michelle Devins occurred on a secluded dead-end street known as Poe Street Extension, located near wooded areas in Utica, New York. This location was familiar to local teenagers as a hangout spot, offering privacy away from residential neighborhoods and main roads. In the early morning hours of July 14, 2019, Brandon Clark drove his black SUV to this isolated area following the return trip from the New York City concert. The argument that had been simmering throughout the drive escalated inside Brandon's vehicle. Jealousy triggered by Bianca's interaction with another male at the concert fueled Brandon's anger and sense of rejection. As the confrontation intensified, Bianca attempted to exit the vehicle, seeking to remove herself from the volatile situation. At that moment, Brandon acted with lethal intent. He pinned Bianca, preventing her escape, and retrieved a large knife he had brought with him. Brandon inflicted multiple deep wounds to Bianca's neck with the knife, cutting through critical blood vessels and soft tissue. The attack was brutal and sustained, demonstrating clear intent to kill. Bianca attempted to defend herself, as evidenced by injuries later documented during the autopsy, but the severity and speed of the assault left her with no opportunity to escape or call for help. The autopsy report noted severe cervical cuts that caused catastrophic blood loss, leading to hypovolemic shock. Bianca died at the scene within minutes of the attack, her body collapsing beside the vehicle. The wooded dead-end location provided Brandon with the isolation he needed to commit the murder without immediate interruption. However, the same digital tools that had connected them online would become the mechanism through which his crime was discovered and documented, ultimately leading law enforcement directly to the scene. After killing Bianca, Brandon Clark made the calculated decision to document the scene with graphic photographs taken on his smartphone. He captured multiple images showing Bianca's body beneath a tarp, with visible neck wounds and blood pooling around her. Brandon then uploaded these photographs to Discord servers, Instagram stories, group chats, and private messages. One of the captions accompanying the images read, "Sorry, Bianca," a statement that suggested both acknowledgement of his actions and a disturbing attempt at apology. Brandon attempted to live stream the scene using Instagram's live video feature, though technical difficulties or platform restrictions prevented the stream from fully broadcasting. Despite this, he tagged Bianca's Instagram account in his posts, ensuring that her followers and friends would see the images. Within minutes, the photographs began spreading across social media platforms at an alarming rate. Users shared the images thousands of times, some out of shock and disbelief, others motivated by morbid curiosity or trolling behavior. The hashtag #ShirunRiBianca began trending as news of the murder spread throughout online communities. Alongside genuine expressions of grief and mourning, the trending topic attracted trolls who reposted the graphic images repeatedly, often with insensitive or cruel commentary. Social media platforms struggled to remove the content as quickly as it was uploaded, leading to widespread criticism of their content. Moderation policies. Bianca's family later issued statements describing the viral circulation of the images as a second, traumatic experience that compounded their grief. They expressed anger and frustration that platforms allowed the photographs to remain accessible for hours, forcing them to repeatedly encounter images of their daughter's murder while navigating their loss. The digital evidence that helped solve the crime also became a source of ongoing trauma for those who loved Bianca. Using metadata embedded in the photographs circulating online, Utica Police Department investigators were able to pinpoint the approximate location where the images were taken. Additional information about Brandon Clark's vehicle, including make, model, and license plate details provided by witnesses and online users, allowed officers to narrow their search to specific areas of Utica. Around 7:55 to 8:10 a.m., officers located Brandon's black SUV parked on Post Street Extension. As police approached the vehicle, they discovered Bianca's body beside the SUV, partially covered by a tarp. A significant pool of blood had formed around her neck and shoulders, and the severity of her injuries was immediately apparent. Brandon Clark was still at the scene when officers arrived. Upon seeing law enforcement, he retrieved the same knife used to kill Bianca and attempted to stab himself in the neck, inflicting serious but non-fatal wounds. Brandon then collapsed and lay down next to Bianca's body on the tarp, appearing to stage a final dramatic moment. Officers quickly moved to detain him, applying emergency medical aid to his self-inflicted neck wounds while securing the crime scene. Brandon was conscious and transported to a local hospital for treatment under police custody. At the scene, investigators recovered critical evidence, including the murder weapon, a large knife with blood on the blade, and Brandon's electronic devices, which contained the photographs he had uploaded and additional digital communications. The rapid police response, facilitated by digital evidence, ensured that Brandon was apprehended, alive, and that the crime scene was preserved. For forensic examination, the autopsy conducted on Bianca Michelle Devins provided detailed forensic findings that confirmed the violent nature of her death. The medical examiner documented multiple deep incised wounds in the neck area, with cuts that severed major blood vessels, including the carotid artery and jugular vein. These injuries caused catastrophic blood loss, leading to hypovolemic shock, which was determined to be the official cause of death. The wounds were consistent with a sharp-edged blade, matching the knife recovered at the scene. In addition to the fatal neck injuries, the autopsy revealed defensive wounds on Bianca's hands. These injuries, including cuts on her palms and fingers, indicated that she had attempted to resist the attack, raising her hands to protect herself or grab the knife during the assault. The presence of defensive wounds supported witness accounts and digital evidence suggesting that the murder was not instantaneous but involved a struggle. The time of death was estimated to have occurred between 6:30 and 7 a.m. on July 14, 2019, based on body temperature, rigor mortis development, and the timeline established through digital evidence. This estimation aligned with the window during which Brandon Clark uploaded photographs, to social media platforms, digital. Forensics conducted on Brandon's seized devices uncovered disturbing internet search history. Searches included queries such as how to kill someone with a knife, how to hide a body, and do women feel pain. These searches demonstrated premeditation and intent, suggesting that Brandon had contemplated violence prior to the murder. Police also obtained Discord logs, retrieved deleted text messages, and gathered witness statements from concert attendees to build a comprehensive case. Brandon Andrew Clark was charged with second-degree murder in connection with Bianca Devin's death. The charge reflected the legal determination that Brandon had intentionally killed Bianca, though the prosecution did not pursue first-degree murder, which would have required proving premeditation beyond the digital search history already documented. In January 2020, Brandon entered a guilty plea to the charge of second-degree murder, acknowledging his responsibility for Bianca's death in court proceedings. However, prior to his sentencing hearing, Brandon attempted to withdraw his guilty plea. His legal team argued for reconsideration, though the specific grounds for the withdrawal request were not made fully public. The court denied this motion, determining that the guilty plea had been entered knowingly and voluntarily, and that sufficient evidence supported the conviction regardless of the plea. In March 2021, Brandon Clark was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison. During the sentencing hearing, judges and prosecutors referred to the killing as a cold, calculated execution, emphasizing the brutality of the crime and Brandon's actions both during and after the murder. The court also considered the dissemination of graphic imagery as an aggravating factor that caused additional harm to Bianca's family and community. Brandon's parole eligibility is projected to occur between 2044 and 2047, when he will have served the minimum 25-year term. Legal discussions also addressed potential charges related to the distribution of violent imagery online, though New York State lacked a clear statute criminalizing such conduct at the time of the offense, limiting the available legal remedies. In the aftermath of Bianca's murder, her family became vocal advocates against online harassment and the spread of violent imagery on social media platforms. Kim Devins and other family members pressured major technology companies to implement more effective content removal protocols and to respond more rapidly to reports of graphic violence. Their advocacy highlighted the inadequacy of existing policies and the trauma inflicted on victims' families when violent images remain accessible online. These efforts contributed to the introduction of Bianca's Law, legislation aimed at criminalizing the sharing of violent crime images and accelerating platform removal protocols. The proposed law sought to hold individuals accountable for distributing graphic content, depicting victims of violent crimes, and to create legal mechanisms for families to demand swift removal of such material. Bianca's Law became a rallying point for lawmakers and advocates seeking to address gaps in digital platform regulation. Memorial efforts in Utica honored Bianca's memory and celebrated her life. A mural was painted in the city featuring butterflies and pink themes, visual elements that Bianca had embraced in her personal aesthetic and online presence. The mural became a gathering place for community members to reflect on her life and the broader issues raised by her death. Community programs centered on mental health awareness and education surrounding the dangers of online relationships were established in Bianca's name. These initiatives aim to help teenagers and young adults recognize warning signs of possessive or manipulative behavior in digital spaces. Bianca's legacy extended beyond the tragedy of her death, inspiring conversations about online safety, mental health, and the responsibilities of social media platforms.